All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 TV show in the history of the world. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I am going to be reviewing Robert Crais' newest Elvis Cole and Joe Pike thriller, and it is called Racing the Angel. Just came out a week or so ago, and Robert Crais is one of those authors that I buy the book the day it comes out, and it goes right to the top of my TBR. And so here we are. I read it. I got a review for you. This is Elvis Cole, book number, I don't know how many there are. I got the entire Robert Crais collection right over here. Those are all my Robert Crais books. I don't know what number this fits in the series. I bet there's over 20 books in the series, though. Anyway, let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. So this cover, I think it's cool. All the Robert Crais covers have been cool so far. We've got the big bold lettering, or the big bold font of the author's name and the title. At the bottom, we can see the city of Los Angeles there in the background and some two freeway overpasses. It's like we're standing under the freeway. It's pretty cool. I like it. And there's a great author photo on the back. So, what's this about? Who are Elvis Cole and Joe Pike? Well, they are private investigators in Los Angeles. And they have been since the late 1980s, I think. I think the first book was from the 80s. I've reviewed about 6 books in the series so far. I've been reviewing them in chronological order over the years, and I think I'm to book 6. But then this one just came out, so I'm kind of jumping to like book number 21. But we're eventually going to get a review of all of them on the channel. Elvis Cole, Joe Pike. Elvis Cole's kind of the smart one. He's kind of the brains of the operation. He's the one that sits in the office and waits for people to come to him with different things that they need investigated in and around Los Angeles. Sometimes they go out of state. I know they've been to Connecticut and Louisiana to investigate things in the first 6 books, but mostly they stay in the Los Angeles area. Joe Pike is more of the muscle of the two of them. He's kind of like the ex-combat veteran, go get shit done kind of guy. Sort of like he's like the Jack Reacher of the series. When things get bad, Joe Pike shows up and saves the day with his, superhuman strength and fighting abilities. So that's the combination of these two guys, and they're fun to follow around. They got, Elvis Cole has got an incredible witty personality. Most of these books we see through the first-person lens of Elvis Cole as he tells us the story. Sometimes we get to see them through the lens of Joe Pike and his personality. Sometimes both narrate parts of the story, and sometimes the stories are told from an omnipresent point of view where we get even the bad guys' viewpoint, which we kind of get in this book. We get a lot of, it is narrated first person by Elvis Cole, but we do get a handful of chapters here and there that are told from the perspectives of some of the other characters in the book. So what is this book about? Adele Schumacher comes into Elvis Cole's office in Los Angeles, and this is the way most of these stories start. Elvis Cole's just sitting in his office chilling. Someone comes in and says, I need you to investigate this, that, or the other. He takes the money and he goes and investigates. Well, Adele Schumacher comes in and she says, my son has been missing for a little bit now. The police don't seem to take it too seriously because he's an adult, and they're like, the police are like, adults can do what they want. Adults can go missing, and we don't give a shit. Because adults are free people. If they want to disappear from their life and not tell anybody and just vanish, that's their business. We really don't get into that. Unless there's, probable cause or suspicion or something like that. But if there is none, it's just like, well, there's nothing we can really do. And so she's like, I need you to find him. Now, she says, my son is a very famous podcaster. These podcasters, the ones that talk a lot about conspiracy theories and aliens and spaceships and Area 51 and all of the, like, the Illuminati, and I mean, they're very popular. A lot of people listen to them, and her son is one of these people, and she thinks that her son was getting a little too close to the truth, and that maybe the government has kidnapped him and they're holding him in a dungeon in Area 51. So she's just like, you got to go find him. And Elvis Cole's like, all right, I'll take, because she's paying some money. She's rich. She's paying some money. So he takes the case. A little while later, the kid's father comes in, and he's like, hey, listen, I know my wife wants you to find our son, but my wife is crazy. My wife is a conspiracy theorist too. I mean, she's just as nutty as my son. There's no way that the government has kidnapped my son and all this stuff. Just, you just be warned, just be forewarned that my wife is a little crazy. My son is just out there too. This is probably just him off on some sort of weird adventure, and he just hasn't told anybody. All right, so that's kind of the setup. So now you're like, okay, who's telling the truth? What's the truth? Well, so now that guy is the ex-husband of the wife. I mean, he's like the he wasn't this husband, he was the ex-husband of the, so he's kind of like, yeah, my ex-wife, she's as crazy as my son. Anyhow, they go, Elvis Cole goes to investigate. He finds out that, and this is just stuff that happens in the beginning. This isn't spoilery. This is part of the plot setup. He finds out that this boy that runs the podcast, he starts listening to some of these podcasts, and he's like, okay, all right. And then he realized, and then through a series of leads and this, that, and the other, he talks to a lot of the guy's friends. He finds out that the guy's best friend is actually a porn star. And he's interviewed this porn star a lot on his podcast too. And the porn star, her name is Skylar Lawless, I believe. Yeah, and so now Elvis Cole is like, okay, what's happening here? Is this girl involved? Because she's clearly put this podcaster in the friend zone. And it seems like the podcaster really is a good friend to her. It seems like they are literally best friends with, just friendship intentions. You know how that works. Everybody on the planet knows how that really works. Porn star, a nerdy podcaster, just friends. Well, maybe the porn star's just friends. But the nerdy podcaster, come on. Anyway, on top of all this and then it's like, well, is the government involved? Was the podcaster onto something? Was the porn star setting the podcaster up? Was all of these different things start to come into play? It's very good. And not only that, but on top of all that, Elvis Cole's old girlfriend from several books ago, a lot of books ago, from Louisiana, comes back into his life with her young son, and Elvis Cole has to deal with all that. And then Joe Pike is in the story too. Anyway, I love the Robert Crais books. They're just absolutely delightful mysteries set in Los Angeles. I think that they're great. I love his writing style. It's just such an effortless writing style, and the dialogue just pops off the page really beautifully. The characters, over 20 some odd books, you just grow to be interested in their lives and their love lives. And Joe Pike has his own sort of backstory. We don't, Joe Pike and Elvis Cole, books, this one focuses more on Elvis Cole for sure, but Joe Pike is in there, and we love to hear from him because he's badass. Anyway, I give this a solid 9.5 out of 10. I thought it was really good. That's my review of the newest Robert Crais book, and there you have it, folks.